Hey, do you know what a Belvedere is? Not the Merriam, Oxford, whatever.
Yeah.
Not that definition. We're talking about a Belvedere.
It's painful.
We're going to tell you what it is and why Chris has been laughing about this all week long. Coming up in just a few minutes. Glad to have you back for another one. Let's jump in here and just a quick catch-up. Now, first we have to start with kudos and applause and how excited we are. Lily had a big gymnastics meet, and she killed it.
Yeah, I had to go cross-state for Austin Peay University for the finals for state. She made it to state, went, rocked it. Now she's going to regionals.
Sweet!
Which, that's a lot of work. And those gymnasts, they all work hard, but we were so, all looking at each other. Every time she would score, it'd be like, there's a video of her on the beam where she does this move that she's had trouble with, and when she lands it, even on the beam, she goes.
She surprised herself.
Yeah, and then killed it. So it was amazing.
Well, it's so great when you're a parent and you have kids who do things like this. My kids, they were all like Lexi did equestrian stuff, and she was very good at it. But that's really it. I mean, Jeffrey was a musician. He was kind of on his own. Meredith didn't really. She did theater stuff, so we went to see her plays, but they never did like a team thing like that. And I think there are two sides. One is you're obviously very excited and proud. And then there's this thing that's like, oh, she's going to go to the next level. Now we got to drive to North Carolina.
Yes. That's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah, it costs money to raise kids, that's for sure. Well, that's awesome. So when is regionals?
I don't know.
Sometime in April, though.
I will be given an itinerary.
Told what to do.
Because otherwise I've got to have that. You know me. You've worked with me for 30 years.
Yes, I have.
If I don't have that, then there's no hope.
Frankly, I'm just excited there's something I don't have to follow up and make sure you do. This one isn't on me. Rachel, good luck. That was on her. Well, very excited. Proud of you, Lily. I think that's fantastic.
She's the best.
She must be thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
One more sports-related thing, and this isn't about playing sports, but you are considering what?
Watching baseball. And here's why.
I don't think that has to be such a big decision.
Yeah, well, because I don't have a lot of time. I don't sit around and binge watch a lot of shows. If I get to see a show a little bit here or there, but I do want some guy time, where I can go and lay on the couch and just veg and watch something.
So outside of football season, you're looking for something to do.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
And baseball, I loved growing up. I used to watch the Braves on TBS, and I've went to a few Yankees games over the past few years, but it's just so long and boring of a game. But they've instituted, I hear, a pitch clock, and you can only throw to first base so many times, and it's so things are kind of moving along. They said they've cut about a half hour off the games. So I'm like, okay, I could go 2.5 hours into a game and pay attention and kind of lay on the couch. So we'll see if I get around to it or not, but
I'm surprised you have the attention span for baseball because you generally don't, unless it's a movie or something. You don't watch a lot of stuff like that.
That's the reason why I said I'm going to try it. We'll see. I mean, I may last an inning and a half and go,
what was I thinking? I have friends who love it. When we lived in San Diego, and we had the Padres right there. Of course, they were just super disappointing.
I lived 3 blocks from them for 2 seasons.
Yeah, so my buddies, they followed baseball. So if I'd go over there, they would often be watching baseball, and I'd just be like, oh my God. I'd go outside and play with the kids. That's how bad it was. I would rather spend time with my own children than sit and watch baseball.
Well, you and I used to do that. We had a skybox at our company out in San Diego, and we would go to Charger games and Padre games, and we would be inside watching it on TV by the bar, and people would come in and go, you can sit right out here and watch the actual game, and we're like, we can see it right here just fine.
I'm good.
And then we would have, the TV would be delayed, so if the crowd went crazy, we know, no, something must have happened, and then we'd look up at the TV and see it and go, okay, yeah, we saw it.
Well, I mean, what was the game where Ricky Henderson
and Tony Gwynn both set a record in one game. I forget what it was like. Ricky Henderson was something about walks, and Tony Gwynn was like a 3,000 hits or something. And we showed up with winners for the box. They were all in the box already. We were late. So we missed Ricky Henderson set the record for his record. So we missed it. We got there late. And then about the 7th inning, we're like, well, we're going to head out. We'll catch you guys later. And then in the 8th or 9th inning, Tony Gwynn set his record.
I think that happened actually before we left. I think we were walking out and heard the crowd go bananas, and we were asked somebody, said, Tony Gwynn just hit his. We're like, oh, great.
So we were there. So we get to tell people we were at that game. So we didn't see any of the records.
Technically true, but yes. That's most of our stories involved. We were there right before it happened.
Yeah. Or right after.
Got out of there. What are we watching? The stuff we've been talking about for a while. Did you get caught up and finish Shrinking?
No.
Oh, so you still haven't finished that season?
No, I want to. We haven't seen an episode since.
Oh, okay.
It's just every time it's like, okay, we need to start by this time. And then it's just slow going, getting everything done that needs to be done. And then it's like, it's too late. I'm going to bed.
Okay. Well, it's great. If you haven't watched it yet, I recommend it again. And you're watching something called The Night Agent. Is this on Netflix?
Yes. It's got my attention on the treadmill. It's nothing I'm like, ooh, I've got to see it. To me, it's like 24, if you like the show 24. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay, we're going to spend half the cost that we spent on budget for 24. So we want C-level actors. What else do we want? Okay, C-level scenery and sets.
Worse effects.
And then definitely don't want to spend any money on real good writing.
Where are you watching this?
I don't know.
But based on that description, I was like, oh, God. Yeah, I saw it pop up in the thing. I was just like, nah.
It's not.
It's amazing in this world how we make decisions. I mean, I don't know if you do this. I will, if I'm on Netflix flipping around, depending on what the thumbnail looks like, it will tell you whether or not. Yeah, I will even consider reading the description or seeing what it is.
Yeah, that's the way it is a lot of times. That's the reason why we ask you to share these shows and like them so that other people will see it and go, oh, maybe I'll try it.
Well, we know how looking at these. You take a look at our page, you're immediately getting ready to move on. I get it. I totally get it.
Whatever.
So thanks for those of you who don't do that. The Consultant. Have you seen The Consultant? This thing is bonkers.
I told you.
You started watching it, and then, we zipped through it in a couple of days. Christoph Waltz, who is awesome.
I figured out the show pretty quick and then didn't.
I was just saying, how'd you figure it out?
Well, I figured out after, that there was something about him without giving anything away.
Right. But we still don't know what that is.
No, not the full thing. Like I said, I figured it out, part of it.
Yeah.
His weight.
Yeah.
I figured that out pretty quick, but then it was like, but I don't know
why
anything.
It's odd. And I was a little disappointed. Like one thing I loved, like Severance was like that at first. It was a little slow to start and it was very odd and had me asking a lot of questions, but it just kept building and building. And, we know they're coming back for another season. This one we don't know yet. And I was, when I got to the end, I was like, I didn't feel satiated. I didn't feel like they had given me enough. So if it doesn't come back, I'll be levelly disappointed that they didn't do more to give me, or I guess I could go read the book because it's based on a book.
That ain't happening with me. I assure you.
I can tell you all about it. But I love the fact that the kid in it, the young man who's the coder, I recognized him immediately. And I was like, how do I recognize this kid? And the only thing and I'm sure he's done other things, but for me, he is in The Intern. And he's the one who lets Robert De Niro know that he got the gig.
Oh, okay.
He goes, you knocked it out of the park, man. You're in. Like, he had just a few lines in The Intern, and I really enjoyed him in this. I thought he was very good.
Okay.
And then the girl, you know who the girl was?
White Lotus.
From White Lotus, yeah. So it's got good people, and Christoph Waltz is, I looked at him and said, this is Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards if he was in current times, the way he manipulates people and the things he does. Mm-hmm. But if you have Amazon Prime, probably worth a watch. I don't know. It's not for everybody.
Well, if you've seen it or watch it, comment below and tell us what you think.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought of it and I don't care. I mean, I know it's still out there. You can put a little spoiler alert before it, but tell us what you think his situation is.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely in question. One I was surprised about. This was my surprise of the week because I've been stung before on these Netflix original movies. Some of them are okay. Some of them are terrible. We turned one off, and I'll have to pop the name up here when we finish this all up. But Jamie Foxx was in it, and I think the kid... I say the kid, he's a grown man now. We interviewed him when he was in Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
That's him. I think he's in it, maybe. It was some kind of pill. You took a pill and you get superpowers, like Project Power, maybe. That might be the name of it. I can't remember. We turned it off. It was horrible. Hated it. Didn't like it. So Katie came to me, and she does this a lot when she's working during the day. She'll turn something on, and then if she thinks it might be worth watching, she'll say, hey, I turned it off. Let's watch it. It's called Day Shift.
Oh, the much anticipated follow-up to Night Shift by the Commodores.
That's not what it is. Although I very much like to hear that. It is a movie with Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco. They're the two main recognizable people you'll see. There's some other names you'll know. And it's basically, he's a vampire hunter. And it's a story around that. And it actually, I thought, was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg makes a fun little appearance in it. And we really enjoyed it. I mean, it's Netflix original. They're not spending all the money on effects and stuff. But interesting story, a new take on vampire stories, which is kind of hard to come by. It was a fun little way to spend a couple hours.
Okay.
So I'd give it a thumbs up. And then Succession is back.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh!
I want to see it because I love that show. The writing is brilliant.
If you haven't watched it, it's on HBO. And it is absolutely impossible to turn off, I think, because the story is so deep, the characters are so deep, the acting is so good. They just have done a great job. This is its last season. They've already made that announcement. So now it's really exciting to see how are they going to wrap all this up and who's going to be the winner.
And how cool is it that an 80-year-old, or ever how old he is, Brian Cox, who's been in many films, just a legendary career, but really finds his thing that he'll be remembered for mostly here at the end.
Well, what's funny to me is there are, I think, two groups of people. He'll be remembered for this by a large amount of people. And then for stoners and kids who like comedy, he will be remembered for Super Troopers, because everybody asked the same question. I knew I did. I was like, what the hell is this serious actor doing in this movie? But it was great. And I'll throw one other one out as long as we're doing that. Autopsy of Jane Doe, if you like horror movies. One of the creepiest, scary movies we've watched.
Okay, is it new?
No, it's a few years old. Small, independent film, but it's Brian Cox and, what's his name? God, he was in Milk. He was in...
Sean Penn.
No, I know him. It'll come up on the screen. But it's basically, there's some other people in it, but it's mostly them with a corpse, the entire movie, and it is fantastic and creepy. So, but yeah, Succession was great. I won't give anything away because I know it's still relatively new. You haven't even seen it, but they picked up right where they left off last season, and I am very curious to see what's going to happen next. My favorite part of that show is Tom and Greg.
Yes, those two are magic together.
Every time they're in a scene together, that chemistry is incredible. And I was blown away when I saw Tom on a regular show and he's not American. I couldn't believe how good his accent was.
That blows me away every time that you see these actors and you're like, had no idea he's Australian. I had no idea he's British.
And sometimes it creeps in a little bit. Some of them are very good, but it creeps in. But him, I never.
Well, and back in the day when we were kids, Mel Gibson, in Lethal Weapon 2, where he's like, get out of my country, mate. It's like, okay, your Australian accent's coming through.
Yeah. Well, the dude that plays the mentalist, he does a really good American accent, but every once in a while, it would slip in. Yeah. So anyway, great show. If you have HBO and you haven't watched Succession yet, probably worth a watch for you. And then this is one neither of us have seen, but if you have, let's hear your reviews. Critics are saying it's the best John Wick movie so far.
How can the fourth movie be the best? And I'm telling you, the first one for me was so good. Yeah. And the other two were entertaining, but they're saying this fourth one is better and he talks less.
Well, they said Keanu Reeves himself, he said, I really want to cut down his dialogue. He cut out half his dialogue from the script. I think he only speaks 380 words in the entire movie. And it's an almost 3-hour-long movie, I think.
Yes. And my favorite thing I read multiple reviews, and the first comment I see under one of these reviews was, I'll agree it was entertaining, but it was a little unbelievable in places.
Which places? It's John Wick. Of course it's going to be crazy. What part was the part that you just couldn't buy into?
Yeah, that always goes back to my Transformers joke where the Megan Fox is hot wiring a car and the friend I was watching the movie with goes, oh, like she could hot wire a car. And I'm like, but you're okay with the robots from outer space that turn into cars.
Yes, and mine was the Terminator movie where near the end they're doing heart surgery in the desert. And my friend was like, oh, like they're going to do heart surgery out here, but you're okay with the time-traveling, robots. It's like, give me a break, man. Suspend that for a second and enjoy the movie. I'm excited to see it. I've enjoyed the John Wick thing. I
am too.
I really would like to see a spinoff to Nobody, which was very John Wick-ish.
They're working on that.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then, and he's got his new show debuted.
Lucky Hank.
We're having a moment right here live on camera because the other day I was trying to remember. I told Katie, I said, there's a show that we wanted to watch, and I can't remember what it was, and that's it. Have you watched it yet?
Nope. I don't even know what it's about. I just know that he's in it.
I'm very excited that got figured out here.
Yep. White Lotus has a location.
We talked about this. We told you a while back that we were pretty sure it was going to be
Thailand,
an Asian situation, maybe Thailand, and it looks like that's been confirmed that they've been out there scouting locations.
Which you already think about, this writer has put some outlandish, pretty wacky, wild stuff in there. Mm. If you haven't heard, Thailand's got some crazy stuff going on.
Well, if you saw the second Hangover movie.
Yes.
It's pretty wild for sure. I am looking forward to this. I think Mike White has done a brilliant job of creating a very interesting show, and I'm in for sure.
Yeah.
I still wish they would do something where they would flash back somehow and give us more of Armand from season 1.
Yeah.
I loved him so much in season 1.
Maybe it'd be like the old Three's Company. His twin will suddenly show up that nobody knew they had.
Big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I love it. Taylor Swift fans, when the Swifties get together, you know something big's going to happen because these guys have power. They are taking Ticketmaster to court. It's happening. And I am very curious to see how this plays out.
I am too, and I hope it's not just for Ticketmaster, but all companies that gouge people with fees that are useless. I mean, it's like I've talked about a bank I used to go to that would be like, oh, you have to do this online. And then they'd charge me a $5 online fee. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You can't tell me I have to do it online and then go, well, we're going to charge you for that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff drives me nuts.
It's pretty wild. So the lawsuit, it went into court a few days ago, and heck, by the time this comes out, there may be an update that we don't know about. But the fans are suing them. They claim the company is a monopoly, owning 70% of the market, and they feel the company takes advantage of fans who want to see their favorite artists. And I couldn't agree more.
I agree, 100%.
More than 24 Swifties filed a class action lawsuit over the whole botched ticket sales thing that happened for the Eras tour. I know my oldest is super excited. She's got her tickets and she's going.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people understand how this situation works the way it is, because Ticketmaster is in with a venue in your city, let's say the biggest venue to see a concert. Odds are Ticketmaster is tied in with them, where they exclusively put their acts, or anybody playing there has to use Ticketmaster. So now if you go on tour and you use that venue, you have to use Ticketmaster. So then they can say, okay, your tickets are $30 each. Okay, well, we're going to make $60 a ticket.
Yeah, we're going to add a convenience fee and this fee and that fee. It's crazy. The attorney said these are really just families who have kids, and they tried hard. They followed all the rules to purchase tickets, and in most cases were unable to do so. Or if they did, they paid such an exorbitant price that it violates the antitrust provisions of the laws that were enacted by our country. So now Congress and the Department of Justice are looking into the whole issue. Ticketmaster put out a statement saying, it was extraordinarily high demand. They had all their excuses.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they've been doing this to people for years.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten worse and worse because nothing's been done about it. So I'm hopeful that the power of Taylor Swift fans can finally...
If there's anybody that can do it, it's her fans.
Yeah, for sure.
And it needs to be done, because it is ridiculous that there's a lot of artists being held hostage. They can't go on tour because they don't want to gouge their fans, and then Ticketmaster does it.
Yeah, well, it's like the show we talked about last time when I got Cure tickets, and Robert Smith. I mean, it's a legendary band, and so he's to the point they don't care about album sales anymore. That they want their fans to be able to come see them, and so he went to bat, and he did something I think a lot of other big artists should start doing, which is standing up to this monopoly.
Yep.
Because if they have no one to promote, how are they going to make any money?
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. But good luck, Swifties. If you're an ice cream fan, you have been without this particular day for several years. When COVID happened, it shut it down. And they're just now bringing it back.
Okay.
The Ben & Jerry's Free Cone Day.
It's free cone. Now, the only flavor available is onion.
They have changed things a little bit, yeah. No, this is great. It's the first time in 4 years that you're able to do this. I remember when we lived in San Diego, we used to volunteer because it would be for charity as well. And we'd go out to the Ben & Jerry's shop in San Diego and scoop ice cream for people.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun. So if you have a Ben & Jerry's in your neck of the woods between noon and 8 p.m., you can get in line as many times as you want. You can choose any flavor for your complimentary scoop, unlike the erroneous information given just a few moments ago about onion flavor.
Oh.
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
No, you must. There's nothing but truth and facts on the internet. Right. In fact, never read the article either, just the headline. That's all you need.
Headline tells you everything. It's a nutshell situation. Ben & Jerry's has been doing this, I guess, for around 40 years. And, of course, they are a huge charitable thing. They give back a lot. So Free Cone Day, back for the first time in 4 years. And if you're an ice cream lover like me, it makes you very excited, I think.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through this. I've been waiting for this. I have texted Tony multiple times over this. We're going to show you a video in a few seconds, which is I have watched no less than, I would probably say now, 250 times.
He sent it to me, and of course, I watched it. I immediately laughed. I've only watched it 4 or 5 times, but I laugh every time I see it.
Now, you have to know what a Belvedere is.
Well, let's start with what we're going to consider the wrong definition of Belvedere. So if you're going to go on a dictionary website or something and look up Belvedere, you're going to see something that says a building or architectural feature of a building designed and situated to look out upon a pleasing scene.
Now, you see, that wouldn't make somebody laugh and watch a video 250 times.
I got news for you. The Belvedere we're talking about, there's nothing pleasing about it. Unless you're a real sicko. So I guess we start. Do you want to start with the origin of it? Or
yes.
Do you want to show the video?
Let's say what the definition of it is.
Okay, so we'll start with,
and then we'll tell the origin of it.
Okay,
and then we'll show this video that you will watch no less than 200 times.
Well, I mean, so we're going to Urban Dictionary, and the definition is really the story. So it kind of combines them. So I don't want to.
Okay, let's tell the story then.
Okay, so here's what the Belvedere we're talking about, and maybe you know this too. An actor named Christopher Hewitt played a character on television back in the day, Mr. Belvedere.
Yes, very polite, very, what's the word for it? Classy.
Yeah, British.
Yes.
Very
etiquette on high.
Oh yeah, the whole thing. So on this show, the legend has it that they were doing a script reading one day, and Mr. Belvedere, Christopher Hewitt, supposedly, when he sat down, sat on his own testicles.
I'm a child. I'm trying not to laugh. I really am.
And the rumor has 2 different endings. You can choose to believe whichever you want. Rumor number 1 says that he screamed so loudly that the fluorescent light above the table shook. Rumor 2 ends with him being taken out on a stretcher.
Needless to say, filming for the day was stopped.
Yeah, and it has become a pop culture thing. I mean, even like Family Guy has referenced it.
Yes.
And I think American Dad.
Because I just missed the Belvedere myself.
When that happens, if you sit on yourself,
you sit on them some way, or they somehow get caught up in the whole thing.
That's called a Belvedere.
You Belvedered yourself. Like, I Belvedered myself. So here's the video that has been entertaining Chris all week. His face.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, that face he makes when that happens.
I want to do it one more time. Let's slow it down so you can really see the face. Oh, man. And I get this poor guy, because, look, I don't know if you know how this works, but the older guys get, the more likely you are to Belvedere yourself. I'd say by the time you hit your 60s, you got to be really careful, because it's like you're walking around with a couple of onions and some pantyhose. You got to like swoop it up around and get it out of the way before you
stop it.
Before you sit down.
Oh God, we got to finish this show.
So
I can't do that.
That's what a Belvedere is, and that's what has been entertaining. Why even watch TV when this thing's just sitting there?
I just put that on a loop. I'm good. Oh God, that has killed me.
Okay, that brings us to our top 5 memes of the week. Obviously, that video is going to be Chris's number 1, forever. But these are separate. So let's jump in. So this first one is just a great lesson before you decide to go on and make a snarky comment on a post on the web, whatever it might be. Just remember that the history is going to judge you.
And I'm betting this is a person that probably didn't watch the show that just immediately thought, this is what I think and it's a fact and I'm going to jump out here and say it.
So here's the picture. You can see Breaking Bad, February 13th, 2009. And down here, a little Cara Calliope. Who the hell cast Bryan Cranston in a serious role? LMAO. He's a comic actor. He can't do such serious roles. The show will either get canceled or he'll be replaced. If you know the history of Breaking Bad, I think you know that he won multiple awards.
Iconic role. I mean, they made a Super Bowl commercial years after it's off the air.
Yeah, so be careful. You just don't know how things are going to go. If you have animals and they are like our dogs, you know this. When I finish eating something, I have to show my hands to the dog like I'm a blackjack dealer.
That makes total sense.
Sue is our guy. He's like, it's like heroin. He'll shake. He's like, what are you eating? He wants it so bad. And I finally have to do that. I'll go, Sue, look, I don't have anything else. And he walks away.
Wow.
But it takes that. Parents and dads especially. Chris, I'm only sorry that you couldn't experience this because you would have been great at it. My son bet me he could make a piece of paper fly farther than I could, so he spent 10 minutes making the fanciest paper airplane I've ever seen. The look on his face when I crumpled mine into a ball and launched it across the house was priceless. Sucks to be a loser.
I love that.
That's what dads are for. We're there to teach life lessons.
Yes.
And those are the kind of lessons I used to love to teach. The owner of my Airbnb has a dog named Kevin. His human-sounding name terrified me at first. Here you can see the text exchange. I apologize in advance, but Kevin may try to sleep with you. Just keep your door shut. Excuse me, what? Kevin is my dog. Imagine getting that message.
Yeah, that's a little alarming.
You should be aware Kevin's roaming around in there, and he'll probably try to sleep with you.
Yeah, if he doesn't Belvedere himself.
Then our number 1 for the week, and you have got to admire this one. It's what happens when your grandpa's a homicide detective and left to babysit.
I love that.
Solid gold.
That's my kind of thing right there.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, that's it. Thanks for watching the show. Please remember our Etsy store is available. You can see it on the screen there. We have a link in the description. Check out. We're always adding new material, and as the seasons change, so we add new stuff to the shop.
And I say, if you've never Belvedered yourself, give us a super thanks.
Yeah. We've took a little break on that, but we're back. If you like something you see, if one of our shorts really strikes you, nothing about his Belvederian shorts. You can do a super thanks. You can send gifts and stuff that way. And remember, all that money goes right into our account to help us buy new equipment, to upgrade the show and make it better. Now, we can't change. I wish we could buy a new sense of humor, but we don't have that.
Nope, you're stuck with Belvederes.
But at least you can get your Belvederes in higher quality lighting and better cameras. All right. Thanks for watching. We have a very special guest on our next show. If you love 90s country, you know this guy.
Yep.
You love him, and we can't wait to catch up. So make sure you stay on the channel, subscribe if you haven't, hit that like button, and drop some comments down there. We'd love to interact with you. Thanks for watching.